1 2. Mic 1 2. us live from the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City, here for Breakout Racing League Tier 1 qualifying. A very rainy Mexico City it is, with these drivers patiently waiting in their garages. Aus Formula, top of the tree right now in the Renault with 17:30 remaining. Ginger Horizon in one of the Williams. Ham Newton, one of the two Williams in this qualifying session. Master Berserk occupying one of the Mercedes. B-Dunk in that Papaya McLaren. Action from one of the Williams garages, and it's Ginger Horizon 12 will be the first to race the racetrack with their V6 turbocharged presence. Down this extremely long straight, at one point the longest straight in Formula One through turns 1, 2, and 3. Down what was known as the back straight into turns 4 and 5, what used to be known as NzL Lago, or Lake S, into the 6 and 7 complex. This tight hairpin, double apex almost, if you will. Now everybody coming out for their out lap, or at the very least it appears 6 drivers. The other Williams, Hamilton, out on the racetrack, and you can see just struggling a bit to put the power down. That looks like B-Dunk behind him in that papaya and blue colored McLaren. Shout out to everyone watching. If you're just joining us, this is the qualifying session for Breakout Racing League Formula One from virtual Mexico City. I'm Rick James, and it is my pleasure to bring you full coverage of every lap of qualifying, every lap of the race. Anterior Titan 93 in the chat says, "Let's go Mexico. Rain for both quali and the race." Rain indeed, and you can believe none of the fans watching this are saying, "Rain, rain, go away." This is going to really shake things up. Master Berserk in that number 24 Mercedes. Yellow flag out in sector 3. We'll see if we've had a spin. Had to be from one of the earlier drivers here. Aus Formula now on his out lap. Mean Fern in the AlphaTauri with those green intermediates on. Ryan, the Kiwi, is out on the track in close pursuit of Deer Hunter in that racing point, and you can see just yielding to the left side of the racetrack, making sure there's enough room for him. Aus Formula in that Renault right behind him, but Ryan getting plenty of room. Let's ride along with the Kiwi for one lap around Mexico City and see how he handles his first attempts on these inters. Horizon going purple there, setting the fastest lap. Quickly beaten by DRL Williams. Let's turn on a bit of telemetry here so we can ride along with the Kiwi and see how he fares already straight away with about a quarter of that DRS range burnt, headed into the Lake S. Through 4 and 5, and now the double apex 6 and 7, what they call the hairpin. Sweeping right-left combination that makes 8, 9, 10, and 11. And you see this second set of S's just a bit tighter, not as open as that first set. Into the baseball section, and Deer Hunters lost it right before the section. Quick reactions from the Kiwi. Unbelievable save there, not only from the the Racing Point, I was going to say Force India, the Racing Point driver, as Aus Formula goes by New Zealand Ryan, who will take some time here to gain some more space. But he won't come down pit road. He'll be on another flying lap, and hairy moments with just 12 and change remaining in qualifying. BRL Perandi getting a little extracurricular out of the baseball section, headed into pit road, hopefully waiting for this track to clear up. It seems that the rain has lightened just a bit, and you can see the lap times starting to tumble already. We have drivers in the 124s, and these lap times will only get quicker. Perandi with 124 at 74, teammate to this pilot here, Oz Formula in the number 2 Renault. Right into the baseball section at nearly 180 miles an hour. You see those rotors glowing bright orange, and into this very slow section that was the baseball stadium. You can see Oz Formula stuck behind the AlphaTauri of Mean Fern coming out of the final corner, but we get a great tow down the front straight. Watch the numbers climb in the bottom right-hand corner. Miles per hour down the virtual front straight in Mexico City. Blistering pace. And look at that. That AlphaTauri getting out of sorts there. It looked like Mean Fern was in trouble. No, that was GSR Axe up ahead, losing control, putting far too much power down just a bit too early. And so far, only 3 drivers sub 124. Let's go up to the McLaren of B-Dunk, who now finds himself 124.85, third on the chart with just over 10 minutes remaining. It's the Kiwi, New Zealand Ryan. He's gone up to second right now, 124.80, just 6/100ths behind Perandi, leading in the Renault. Oz Formula, the second of those Renaults, sitting in fourth right now with 124.38. You can see Ryan just a bit squirrely out of the final corner. Heat will be coming down pit road, and that looks like GSR Axe as well. You saw him get out of sorts. Right now with B-Dunk, who's on another flyer. Let's pull up the track map and see where he is as far as the time goes. He went green in Sector 2. Through the baseball section, the rain continues to fall in Mexico City. The podium gleams behind that lovely McLaren. Will B-Dunk be standing on it in an hour's time? Across the line, 124.85 is where B-Dunk will remain. Perandi at the top of the tree, now on another outlap, still with the fastest time into this qualifying session. Now less than 10 minutes to go. One driver we have not mentioned in this papaya machine, RBM Mary, now on her outlap. Her teammate B-Dunk right behind her, and is B-Dunk going to offer a tow? Mary now seems to get moving languidly in 6th gear, possibly just trying to adjust some last-minute settings, saving as much of this intermediate tire as possible. Drivers in the pit. Mary, the only driver currently on their outlap. 2 drivers that have yet to even make a move in this qualifying session, 13th and 14th respectively. Deer Hunter in that the racing point, the pink racing point, and FinFan in the lone Ferrari right now, but the Alfa Romeo. FinFan currently out right now on a lap. You can see that fuel light blinking. FinFan has put that car on the strictest diet possible. Now into the baseball section. Where will the Alfa end up? Green in Sector 2. B-Dunk now goes second on the board, 1:24.63 out of the final corner, headed onto the long straight. FinFan across the line. The Alfa Romeo 13th with a 1:26.22. We'll see what FinFan can come up with on this second flying lap. Meanwhile, Mean Fern and Ham Newton both in the pits right now. They will be on their out laps shortly. So with 7 and change remaining, these drivers will have just about 2 more runs that they can accomplish with ample time. Pirandi right now is still on it, not giving it the full beans, if you will, and there he goes wide out of the double apex. The Renault moving at a pedestrian pace, if you will, with the yellow flag now in Sector 2. We'll see what Pirandi can do as his teammate climbs to second place, 1:24.43 for Oz Formula, and the Kiwi Ryan now dips down to 4th. Now with Pirandi, who lets B-Dunk by in the McLaren. Through the baseball section, will Pirandi go for a flyer, or will he come down pit road for fresh tires? Pirandi does indeed come down into the pits. Oz Formula still on his fast lap. You see he just went red for Sector 1 coming out of the double hairpin. Now B-Dunk looks like he'll be coming down pit road, preparing himself for 1 or 2 final blasts. The Kiwi Ryan, 4th place right now, tied for 4th with Ginger Horizon with a 1:24.80. Hoopalicious in 6th. Now on his outlap, as is Mean Fern in the AlphaTauri. Hoop driving, see that machine that Hoop is in, that lovely Red Bull there. Back to the Kiwi Ryan, he's on his flyer, looking to qualify back in the top 3 where he feels he belongs. No toe, but still hitting the comfortable speed of 200 miles an hour into 1, 2, and 3. Ginger Horizon, the Williams now onto the front straight. Ginger coming down pit road for 1 final blast. Out of the front 3 corners, now into the S, the Lake S, if you will. The Kiwi Ryan looking to improve. He goes green in Sector 1. Those of you just joining us in the chat, we appreciate you so much. Thank you for tuning in for this qualifying session now in the final 5 minutes, and Ryan is on it, trying to break that Renault lockout of the front row. Now into the baseball section, wide out of the S's. Will he be calm, cool, collected in that black and silver arrow? Not so much a timid line, but a smooth line. Hits his marks beautifully. And now down pit road, and it looks like he's going to scrub this attempt. Meanwhile, your top 3 now all on outlaps. You see B-Dunk giving way to FinFan in the Alpha. B-Dunk now going through the S's. You can see he's in 6th gear now, but he's taking it quite easy, preparing for 1 more flyer, and everybody has joined the program. Now Ginger Horizon also on their outlap. BRL Williams out of the final corner, and that Pink Panther now on a flyer. The clock is ticking for the Racing Point. Into turn number 1 at the tune of 201 miles per hour. Notice the helmet there, red on the sides with green stripes, a bit of an homage to the great nation of Mexico. Master Berserk in the other Mercedes now on their outlap, headed under the Fanatec Bridge into the baseball section. Mary on another outlap. What was that? You saw that Alpha cutting heavily through the S's there. What is Axe on? Hopefully he doesn't get disqualified from the session for taking so many liberties. Making up his own line through the baseball stadium. We'll see if he starts a flyer or if he decides to come down pit road. By the angle, it looks like, yes, Axe is indeed coming down pit road. Mary now on her outlap. She'll be starting her flyer. Right now, at the top of the tree, Hoopalicious just took second place, breaking that Renault lockout of row number 1 with 2:22 remaining in the session. Oz Formula in the pits. Will he go out for one more run? At the front, BRL Pirandi now 1:24.33. Solidifying their lead at the front. BRL Williams now knocking Hoopalicious off of the silver medal place with 1:24.40. Hoopalicious now down to third, 2 100ths off, and B-Dunk to the front, 1:24.28 purple with a $1.50 to go in qualifying. The McLaren at the top. Formula. Ryan now on their outlaps. Here's Ginger Horizon now through the baseball stadium. Master Berserk leaving the baseball stadium. What will he put up on the board out of the final corner? Puts the power down. The Mercedes with Spray trailing across the line. 9th best. Ham Newton now coming through the stadium section himself. Pirandi, B-Dunk, Williams, your top 3, all within 3/10 of each other. Ginger Horizon now down the long straight. Ryan on his outlap, and you can see he's bringing this clock down as slow as he can. The McLaren, the Renault ahead. That's Hoopalicious in the Red Bull, now overtaking and coming with great speed through the S's. Thank you, those of you joining us in this final minute of qualifying for Tier 1 Breakout Racing League Formula 1 Round 20 from the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in virtual Mexico City. These drivers lining up for one final blast in the session. Pirandi at the top with 1:24.11. B-Dunk 1:24.28, less than 2/10 off the mark. Williams in second, just 4 100ths ahead of B-Dunk. Williams very slow now. Looks like they won't finish their lap with a flyer, and that's the Alpha losing it. That's FinFan out of turn number 3 who spun. Yellow flag will fly. How will that affect these outlaps? The final flyers. Here's Pirandi at the top. 1:24.11. All drivers now have 3 minutes to complete their flying laps. Ham Newton in the pits. He's done. Mary has left the session. She's 8th for the moment. Master Berserk also in the pits. BRL Williams very, very slow. Williams will not be completing a flying lap today. Well, not in these last minutes at least. Out of the double hairpin on that flying lap with traffic ahead. How will Pirandi respond? A wide entrance into the S's at the top, leading by less than 2/10. Does he extend his lead? Clean through the S's. Onto the Fanatec Bridge, into the baseball stadium for the final time in this qualifying session. Deer Hunter finishes 14th. Ham Newton finishes 9th for the time being. Drivers crossing the line. Hoopalicious done in 4th. One of the Mercedes now crossing the line. Ryan done in 6th. Pirandi at the top. Will he stay at the top? 1:24. He goes to 1:23.98 as he finishes his session. Now really throwing the gauntlet down to BRL Williams, who's very slow through the baseball stadium, who won't be besting that time. And this is your pole lap. BRL Pirandi, the only sub 1:24 time, 1 minute 23 seconds, .982. Pirandi is your round 20 pole sitter for the Breakout Racing League Mexican Grand Prix. Fans at home, you've got just a short moment to grab a drink, grab a snack, sit tight while we load up the race and get ready for the 20th round of the season. Loading up the racetrack now, drivers will be eager to get the formation lap underway and start the racing, and you can see the rain is falling. It's going to be an exciting race. Focus will be paramount, and mistakes will be punished tenfold. As we get started here, a reminder to these fans to share the link, twitch.tv/Breakout Racing League. Get your friends, your family, your team, all of your friends in here. They don't want to miss this thrilling Mexican Grand Prix. The formation lap is just seconds away from getting started. BRL Pirandi rolling off first. Pirandi finds himself second in points right now. It's an 82-point gap down to the back. So the points battle almost meaningless, but of course these drivers still racing for pride. You can see the trails in the tarmac. This is a very wet race. Most of these drivers, if not all of them, starting on intermediates. Let's go ahead and bring up the tire detail here. Every last one of these drivers on intermediates, no one taking any chances at all. Pirandi starting first in this Renault. Rolling off second will be BRL Williams in the Racing Point. B-Dunk starting third in the Papaya McLaren, one of two today. Teammate to our pole sitter, Oz Formula in the number 2 Renault. Hoobalicious, the lone Red Bull, piloting that number 82. Around the racetrack, NzL Ryan, the Kiwi, with the most wins this year, and so far, one of 2 wins in full rain. Round 4, China went to the Kiwi Ryan under wet conditions. Ginger Horizon starting 7th. RBM Mary rolling off 8th in her papaya-colored race car. Teammate to B-Dunk. Ham Newton 9th. That black and blue helmet fits the Williams livery beautifully. GSR acts in the lone Alpha Tauri. Look at the way he warms up those tires in these wet conditions a la Fernando Alonso. Brave indeed, but will he translate that bravery to the race? Teammate to the most frequent winner this season as he passes the winner's podium. Master Berserk starting 11th. Mean Fern, teammate to GSRX in the second of 2 Alpha Tauris. Fin Fan in the lone Alfa Romeo, and Deer Hunter rounding out these 14 skilled pilots in this 20th round of Breakout Racing League Formula 1. BRL Pirandi on the pole. Drivers settling in, waiting for the lights. Locked into position. Yellow flag in sector 3. Taken away. Five lights up. 5 lights down, and we're racing in Mexico. Slow start for Pirandi. BRL Williams now to the outside with a great launch, and there goes BRL Williams to the front. B-Dump now trying to take advantage of the Renault into turn number 1. Pieces of race car flying all over the place. These 14 pilots just going 3, 4 abreast into the first corner. They will funnel down 2 abreast. Contact between these drivers. Williams making it away just clean enough. B-Dunk into the McLaren, comes out second. Your pole sitter Pirandi in third. Oz Formula, his teammate, sitting in the 4th position. Ginger Horizon rounds out the top 5, and already the leader Williams making it out to an interval of over 1 second, with the 2 Renaults breathing down the tailpipes of that McLaren. Yellow flags in Sector 1, Sector 2, contact, no doubt. Drivers now getting single file as they leave the hairpin. RBM Mary rounding out the end of this field in that pink helmeted McLaren, but back up to speed. 1.2 seconds the interval out of the S's section, now headed towards the baseball stadium. Into the stadium now, almost 1.5 seconds back to B-Dunk, who's got Pirandi breathing down his neck. No penalties so far in this opening lap. Obviously no pit stops, and look at the position changes there. Williams moving up one from second to first. Mary taking the biggest hit, going from 8th down to 16th. And then your biggest winner, Master Berserk, the second of two Mercedes teammate Ryan, gaining 3 positions. BRL Williams now leading this race well over a second, but now shrinking, you see, down to 9/10 and counting. B-Dunk really applying the pressure now. Williams now in the lead. Here's Pirandi, it looks like, in the 3rd position, now really pressuring that McLaren. And the gap says half a second, but when it's that close, it might as well be nothing. It's now up to the McLaren to make sure he doesn't make any mistakes in these wet conditions. But Pirandi, as he tightens the screw, must keep his lime helmeted head screwed tightly on his Renault driving shoulders, headed into the stadium, while the gap to the leader B-Dunk remains and now exceeds 1 second through the stadium. If you're just joining us, thank you so very, very much. You're watching live coverage of round 20 of Breakout Racing League's Formula One Mexican Grand Prix. An exciting, thrilling start, and these drivers have gotten single file, and now the work will be done. Pirandi in that Renault, who started first, down to 3rd, giving chase to the Papaya McLaren of B-Dunk and the Pink Panther Racing Point of BRL Williams. As far as Racing Point is concerned, one good, one bad. You can see Mary already in the pits, must have accrued some damage, and you see the new nose on that McLaren. That number 61 car is down and away. Speaking of Racing Point, where one leads, the other driver, second to last here, 1.1 seconds off, 12th place, FinFan, headed into the Lake S's, now with number 1 FinFan, the lone Alfa Romeo chasing Mean Fern in the AlphaTauri up ahead. With this rain, you can see it has afforded these drivers plenty of opportunity to gain space and use it effectively, but it's only going to make the passing opportunities much more difficult as this race goes on. And given the wet surface of the racetrack, once these tires begin to wear, just like that, you'll see cars taking extracurricular lines, getting a bit out of hand in these high-speed corners. FinFan already making the most he can of the racetrack. Up to 6th place, and the closest gap we have between any battling drivers, it's the Kiwi Ryan with 5 wins this season, chasing down Ginger Horizon, and you can see GSRX just goes purple for the race, 1:27.55 in the AlphaTauri Honda into turn number 1, using the toe with 2 black rain-soaked trails behind him. The black and silver arrow of Ryan now breaks the top 5 threshold. Next on the list, the Renault of Oz Formula. Into the Lake S for the 4th time in this competition, Oz Formula behind his teammate Pirandi, and that gap now less than 6/10. Meanwhile, the gap at the front has shrunken considerably. What was once 1.4 seconds is now less than half of that. B-Dunk bringing the gap to less than 7/10, but the 3rd placed driver of Pirandi, same distance behind. Now out of the S's into the baseball stadium, and a 3-second penalty for 2 drivers, both Williams. Candidly enough, Ginger Horizon, and now a 3rd driver getting a penalty, Deer Hunter, in the Racing Point. yellow flag, and now in Sector 2 and Sector 3, a couple of drivers losing control and coming together. But Ginger Horizon, Ham Newton, and Deer Hunter now with penalties as Perandi goes purple, 1:27.17 in the Renault. Fans at home, put in the chat who you're rooting for. Let's see who you think will win this race. Perandi right now behind that McLaren, where Perandi was once losing big time off of the start. Back down to third. He's now challenging heavily for that second position. And there goes the leader, B-Dunk. You see he's lost it there, coming out of the S into the double hairpin, and a huge mistake. We mentioned this at the top of the show, the rain, and there goes again, small contact there between the Renault of Oz Formula, the McLaren of B-Dunk. Now through the S's section, both drivers struggling to gain traction, gain grip. Williams to the lead, Perandi right behind him in the Renault, but meanwhile, this calamity between this orange and yellow car, respectively. B-Dunk and Oz Formula separated by less than half a second into the stadium. And that big mistake, you could say the first mistake made by one of the leaders, B-Dunk already paying for his wet transgressions. Before we were rudely interrupted by that thrilling action, fans at home, just a reminder, put in the chat who you're rooting for. Let's hear who you have bet on to win this Mexican Grand Prix for the Breakout Racing League. So far, Williams showing his intent with a little bit of serendipity from the leader, B-Dunk. That 7/10 gap now shrinking down the straight into the S's, where we just saw the leaders spill their race car. Out of the double hairpin, Williams, BRL Williams is still leading this one with BRL Perandi close behind, but then a 9/10 gap to, so far, the most frequent leader of this race, B-Dunk. Oz Formula right behind him. Love that overhead shot through these S's. Just gorgeous race cars down the straight into the stadium. New Zealand Ryan, who started in the 6th position, was once 1.5 seconds behind Oz Formula, now shrinking the gap to 7/10 and making up a ton of time through the stadium. Now 4/10 as they drive at a crawl. Let's ride along with the Kiwi as he has Hoopalicious behind him. Will he be able to make a pass into one? Miles an hour into the first corner. A quick look behind the Mercedes, and there's Hoopalicious, not well behind in 6th, but not close enough to make a pass. Look at the spray coming up into this camera. Any driver using cockpit view would have everything to deal with all that weather right in their face, but luckily Ryan hanging on to the car with great skill. A wide entry into the double apex, staying close behind Oz Formula. Very wide into the S's, and that's going to cost him dearly. Watch the Renault now pull away. Ryan trying to make up the gap through the second pair. Oz Formula getting a bit of oversteer coming out of the S's now into stadium. Renault of Oz Formula once again getting just a bit of oversteer, possibly losing grip in the tire, possibly being a bit too generous with the gas pedal. Now out of the final corner, down the front straight one more time. The Kiwi flicks on the ERS. Here he goes for the overtake. Oz Formula now to the right-hand side. There goes Ryan past the Renault into turn number 1. No rebuttal from Oz Formula, and that is how you do that. 5th to 4th. Using the toe in the front straight, RBM Mary picks up her first penalty of the evening. Ryan now into fourth, 1 second adrift. Half a second adrift of B-Dunk. Out of the double hairpin, now B-Dunk just 6/10 ahead, still sitting comfortably. There goes the McLaren, second mistake of the night, and it only goes from bad to worse for the number 43 papaya-colored Formula One race car out of the S's section, now down the straight, and it's a quick straight as well. So not only has he lost the time in the corner, he's lost the momentum through the straight, headed into stadium, and it's going to cost him as far as tire wear is concerned. And look at B-Dunk now, from first to third after his initial mistake. Ham Newton getting another penalty, and now from third to 11th for this driver. B-Dunk needs to focus and get his work done. Well cut out for him out of the final corner, and it's a new lap for B-Dunk. Let's see what the McLaren driver can do out of ERS, headed into turn 1. Deer Hunter with some penalties. Let's go ahead and catch up with the penalties that these drivers have accrued so far. 6 seconds for Ginger Horizon in the 6th position. The other Williams, Ginger Horizon's teammate, with 3 more seconds. Ham Newton with 9 seconds worth of penalties. This driver right here, the number 53 Racing Point of Deer Hunter, now with a 3-second penalty. And RBM Mary with 3 seconds, down in 14th. One thing I've noticed, the rain has stopped falling 9 laps into this event. We've almost hit 1/3 completion in this race. So how will these drivers treat these tires? Because naturally, the next step is to go to the dries, but it's going to take bravery, a whole lot of bravery, for these drivers to make that attempt. GSR Axe picking up his first penalty, and you can see the yellow fuel light already, it looks like, on his telemetry. 180 plus now down the front straight. 6th place, Ginger Horizon, now with a toe, headed up to 5th place, Hoopalicious in the Red Bull. You see Master Berserk has made up 4 positions so far. B-Dunk down to 8th. After that mistake through the first pair of S's, and where Mary had lost the biggest amount of positions, that title now goes to 11th place B-Dunk after losing all that time, spilling his car out of the S's section. Hoopalicious now finds himself with a nice gap over Ginger Horizon, rounding out the top 5. Hoopalicious put in a lovely qualifying performance, and we can see Oz Formula in the 4th position, now overtaken just recently by New Zealand Ryan, who finds himself 1 second and counting back from Pirandi. And as the rain has let up, Ryan has just put the hammer down, and he is scything through this time. These numbers are dwindling fast. Williams has to worry about Pirandi, but I think Pirandi has bigger issues pressing at the moment. Let's ride along with the Kiwi and see how he uses the toe down the front straight. 11 laps into this race, B-Dunk now gets his penalty for multiple warnings. Into turn number 1, you can see the spray up on the camera, but it's not as thick as it obviously was when the rain was falling. Another grand indicator that the track is drying, but the spray means it's still too wet to put on any dries. A bit of a lockup, a bit of a skid into the S. The Lake S, if you will, as it used to be called, now known as 4 and 5. The double apex, known as 6 and 7, now into the S's section. Williams still leads over Pirandi. Ryan sitting in the 3rd position. Now Now more drivers carrying penalties than not. Save for your top three. Out of the S's section, Oz Formula now dwindling the gap to less than 4/10 to the Kiwi. And it seems everywhere we go in sports, it's always New Zealand versus Australia, and here we see it again, third and fourth place respectively. New Zealand Ryan and Oz Formula battling for the final podium position. Now 12 laps underway, and the next time they cross the line will officially be 1/3 of the way through this race. Those of you still joining us, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this chat. Let's see who you're rooting for. Put in your favorite driver in the chat. Let us know who you want to win this race, what you think of the race so far, and don't forget to share the link, twitch.tv/Breakout Racing League. Tell your friends, your family, your team, even everybody you know, blast it on Twitter. They don't want to miss the remaining laps of this race. Williams still leading, now leading the most laps so far. Perandi behind him closed the gap to half a second, but now just under 1 second is the interval between first and second position. Ryan with a bit of a gap over Oz Formula, but Oz Formula with penalties awaiting at the end of this race. Taylor Clan puts 1 bit in the chat. Thank you so much, Taylor. Glad to have you in this chat. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying the race. Let us know. Let everybody else know who you're rooting for. You can see there, a pit window is now open for what they say is the hard tire, but obviously all of these drivers on the intermediate. We'll see how long they choose to run on these inters with the track drying up bit by bit. It's only a matter of time before the slick tires come out. Then we'll see who's quick once the script gets flipped. Hoopalicious maintaining 5th, 1 second ahead of Ginger Horizon in the highest ranked Williams in the 6th position, and now exiting the double apex, Master Berserk, teammate to the Kiwi. This Mercedes now entering the S's section. And despite not being as successful this season as their teammate Master Berserk, holding 7th bravely and responsibly, managing to grab a 6th place finish in Monaco, a 7th place finish in a wet British Grand Prix as well, an 8th place finish a few weeks ago in Singapore. So good finishes being strung together in these latter stages, with just 2 stages remaining after this, Brazil and Abu Dhabi respectively. Master Berserk now coming into the 5th position. You can see Hoopalicious now out of the pits. The Kiwi Ryan now into pit road, overtaking Hoopalicious, and Ryan leaving pit road on intermediates as well. So it seems like the track is still wet enough for grooved tires. Hoopalicious on the soft compound. The points leader Ryan on the intermediates, Hoopalicious on the soft, but you can see virtually no spray coming up from that Mercedes. Which one of these drivers made the right move? And look at Hoop, already very wide out of the front 2 corners, struggling through turn 3. Spray still coming up from the racing point behind him, and Hoop made the wrong choice. The Red Bull on the red tires makes an error and losing so much time on the softs. Yellow flag now in sector 2. New Zealand Ryan on the intermediates, no mistakes so far. Now clean and green out of the hairpin into the S's section. Master Berserk now making up his own line on these intermediates. Not sure what went wrong. There's your sector 2 yellow flag. Let's bring up some details here and see where these drivers have gone on tires. And there's your telltale sign if it wasn't apparent as he gets right in front of Mary. Goodness, what a scary move. Hoopalicious now stone dead last in this Red Bull with those red tires, and it's a mountain to climb now, where Hoopalicious was in the top 5, now dead last. And look at this, Pirandi now on softs. Perhaps Hoop pitted a lap too soon, but Pirandi now goes to the red tires, as does B-Dunk. You can see BRL Williams on the hard, so Williams will be looking to go the distance as we reach almost halfway in this race. Pirandi seems to be stable on those red Pirellis. A little bit slow out of turns 1, 2, and 3. Ginger Horizon on the hard compound, able to put a little bit of the power down. That Williams now moving at speed. The track now fully dry now, and Hoopalicious, if Hoop could have waited one more lap, it would have paid dividends. But now the Red Bull driver in 11th of 14 cars. And there's Hoop again, just getting too much oversteer out of turn 4 and 5. And race control gives the leader a penalty. The Kiwi now with a 3-second penalty for cutting the track. That leaves Pirandi as the only driver remaining in the top 3 so far with no penalties. The only driver in the top 9 with no penalties. Mean Fern picking up another 3 seconds there. Pirandi on the soft compound with little to no spray, now flying up the back of that golden rod. Renault, Ryan now goes purple with a 1:26.77. But now Pirandi 5 seconds adrift on the soft compound. What will Pirandi do now? Yellow flag in sector 3, but it will not affect Pirandi. 5 seconds adrift of the leader, and you can see these lap times just tumbling now with these slick tires on these race cars. 12 seconds worth of penalties for ERS Ham Newton in the Williams. You can see he's just leaving that 1, 2, 3 section. His teammate Ginger Horizon just behind him with half the amount of penalties. Ryan now into 4 and 5. Here's Pirandi. Now into the S's. 5 seconds adrift of the leader. No penalties so far for this Renault. 16 laps into this race. Ham Newton in 3rd. There you can see just 9 seconds back. But what will Pirandi be able to do on these softs? You can see the way that the gap is shrinking exponentially with the way the Renault is on these soft tires. Ryan forgoes pit road one more time. Does not go purple, but what will Pirandi do? Pirandi doesn't manage to go purple either. We'll see if this will be the flying lap that puts him top of the charts. Ginger Horizon now making their way into the 3rd position. It looks like Ham Newton now coming down pit road to switch those intermediates for the hards. Ham Newton now looking to go the distance for the remainder of this race. Now going down to 8th, possibly 9th. Mean Fern also down pit road. Deer Hunter now at speed, taking 8th place away from Ham Newton. But now with fresh hard tires, Deer Hunter up ahead on the intermediates. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. There's the other racing point of BRL Williams. Look at that drift out of turn number 3. That hard compound racing point. Moving at speed, headed into 4 and 5. Oz Formula now losing 5th place to B-Dunk, who's on those red softs. B-Dunk behind Hoopalicious in the Red Bull, also on the soft tires, and it looks like Hoopalicious didn't lose too much time now, going through 1, 2, and 3. Back up to 4th place, albeit 4 seconds adrift. 4 seconds adrift of Ginger Horizon. Ginger Horizon with 6 seconds worth of penalties as Pirandi goes purple. Now Ryan eventually had to come in. He's ripped off the Band-Aid, and the Kiwi switches the green intermediates for the yellow medium compounds. So now 18 laps underway, just before the halfway mark of this race. Ryan switching to the mediums. Pirandi, the leader, on the softs, 17, almost 18 seconds ahead. But at some point, those softs will give way, and Ryan will not have to pit if he can stretch the life of the mediums further than it needs to go. My apologies there. 18.6 seconds, 18.7 now, as Ryan leaves turn number 5 adrift of the leader, but that will change when these soft tires give way. Ginger Horizon now with just a 2-second gap. That's gone down to 2 seconds to second, excuse me, as I stammer there. 2 seconds back to second place, and just 3/10 to Hoopalicious, who's on the soft compound, riding along with the Red Bull pilot. The Williams up ahead, sitting on those hard tires. Through the stadium now, less than 60 miles an hour as he travels through the stadium, out of the final corner, foot down. Will he open? Well, if DRS is available yet. Still not available. You can see by the flap not opening on the wing, but he puts the overtake off. Now completing his overtake on the Williams and into third place. A double overtake now for the Williams of Ginger Horizon. B-Dunk moving their way into the 4th position. And Hoopalicious back into the podium places. He sits 3rd in his Red Bull. Now 3 seconds adrift of second place, New Zealand Ryan. Ryan sitting on those mediums as he goes through 6 and 7 into the S's section. Pirandi, the leader, now stretching that lead to almost 19 and 1/2 seconds. Ryan giving it everything he's got. You can see by the way that car just whips out to the curb. Hoopalicious straight and true into the stadium section. B-Dunk right behind him, also on soft tires in the McLaren. And Ginger Horizon, who was so brutally overtaken into the first corner. You can see those white Pirellis indicating the slower hard compound for Ginger Horizon, but Horizon will more than likely be looking to go the distance as Hoopalicious now goes 1:21.19, the fastest lap of the race so far at a $1:21, blistering pace, and he's now making his way up to the Kiwi Ryan. $1:20.31 now the fastest time. GSRX in the Alpha Tauri Honda. 12th place doesn't mean you can't go fast, and GRSX taking that to heart. There we see the stop chart so far. GSRX have made 2 stops, but on that soft tire now, he takes the purple lap for the time being. We'll see which one of these drivers can either replicate or best GSRX's time. He heads into the Lakes section with a big smile on his face, undoubtedly. FinFan now 14th of 14 cars despite making just 1 stop. FinFan finds himself behind Deer Hunter, who sits on those medium tires. And now the gap grows. FinFan on those hards, looking to go the distance, but for now will have to sit patiently and wait while the drivers on the faster tires make their way through this field. In the lead with a 20.6 second gap and growing since Ryan came down pit road. Pirandi with no penalties so far and just 1 pit stop in his race history on this 21st lap. Driving the race of his life so far. Round number 20 has been under his control. Pirandi would love to get his 5th win this year. Round 2 in Bahrain round 7 in Monaco, back-to-back wins in Austria and Great Britain. Missed the race last week from the Circuit of the Americas, but now, with 15 laps remaining, Pirandi growing that gap to 21.5 seconds into the first corner, looking to get his 5th win of the season. New Zealand Ryan with 7 victories already, looking to pick up his continuation of what was 4 straight wins. Vietnam, China, Zandvoort, and Barcelona, 4 wins in a row. He ended up winning at Baku 2 weeks later, getting 5 wins in an incredible 6 weeks. A win tonight would be his first back-to-back win since round number 6 in Barcelona. The second of 3 drivers with no penalties so far. Hoopalicious in the 3rd position, entertaining a battle for the final podium position between himself and B-Dunk. Both of these drivers on the soft red Pirellis, but how long will they last? Surely they can't go another 14 laps at this pace on the soft tire, so they'll either need to come in now and go to the mediums as Pirandi goes purple with a 1:19.53. They'll either need to switch to the mediums sooner rather than later, or stretch these softs as far as they can before they put on one more set of tires for the finish. The Kiwi goes purple, and he just gets beat by Hoopalicious, 1:19.23. The Red Bull goes fastest of all in Mexico, despite the wear on these tires. Hoopalicious continues to put in a blistering pace. 8 laps of wear on these Pirellis, and he just went purple for the entire event. Great drive. Out of the S's section, Hoopalicious with that purple time, giving it everything now, really stretching those Pirellis as far as they'll go. And you can see his softs as well as Pirandi's, the most worn softs so far, but Pirandi just went 0.8 quicker in Sector 1. So this Renault now giving it all that he has in the waning laps of this soft tire run. It will be 8 laps to go the next time he crosses the line. It'll be, well over 8 laps to go. My math is incorrect. It'll be 12 laps to go the next time Pirandi crosses the line. Lovely sound coming from that turbocharged V6. Pirandi leading this race, but the gap has stayed steady, hovering just at the 21-second mark. Ryan out of the hairpin section, now into the S's one more time. Only 5 laps of wear on those mediums, but Hoopalicious closing this gap to 1.7 seconds to the Kiwi. Hoopalicious running fastest of all, but not anymore. 1:17.86. Pirandi purple. And he now has the fastest lap of the race through the stadium section. Hoopalicious, who now has a bit of a toe on the Kiwi. Will he go purple? Hoopalicious does not go purple. Ham Newton picks up another penalty. And when the gap is this close, Ryan needs to get a move on. That gap has to be greater than 3 seconds for Ryan to keep his position. A bit of a lockup into turn number 1. And those tires aren't getting any fresher. Hoop really torturing those Pirellis, but he needs to give it everything, as he will have to come down pit road at least one more time for fresh tires. If you're just joining us, thank you. This is round number 20 of 22 in the Breakout Racing League. This is Tier 1 now in the closing laps of this Formula One Mexican Grand Prix. Pirelli so far bossing this field, leading this race by well over 21 seconds, but a pit stop still looms. As for Ryan, now in the second position, he sits on these mediums, 21 seconds adrift of the lead. Hoopalicious also must come in, and there is Hoopalicious, the Red Bull, coming down for tires. What will he choose? It will be softs one more time, and this will take him to the end. Hoopalicious obviously losing positions. B-Dunk now getting on the soft tires, and you'll see many drivers opting, if not all drivers, opting for the soft tire in these closing laps. Hoopalicious now going to be lightning on the racetrack with fresh softs. Williams overtakes him for now on the hard compound. Williams, 13 seconds adrift of Ginger Horizon, the other driver on the hard compound tire, but with 10 laps of wear more than any other pilot. Pirelli now leading on the softs out of the stadium section. Will Pirelli come to pit road? Pirelli does come to pit road. Pirelli now given a 3-second penalty for cutting the racetrack, and that leaves just two drivers with no penalties. Now the chase is on. Here's second place, the Kiwi Ryan on the mediums. He will overtake Pirelli, but by how much? And will Pirelli have the tires at the end? There's the Renault now leaving pit road. Here's the Kiwi now on the front straight. Ryan goes purple, 117.83. There's Pirelli in the Renault, now losing first place. Kiwi blasts by into turn number 1, but not by much. New leader, NzL Ryan, and is it just me, or are the skies getting a bit darker? Will there be rain in these final 10 Mexican laps? Hoopalicious now with a 3-second penalty. That leaves BRL Williams as the only driver to be penalty-free in this 20th round of the Breakout Racing League. Into the S's, Pirelli with a clear tire advantage, but what will that mean for the Ryan? Ryan on the tire disadvantage with those mediums. Pirelli really turning the screw now, headed into stadium. B-Dunk with a 3-second penalty. Now out of the final corner, riding along with the Renault, who will undoubtedly take the lead from Ryan. There goes the Mercedes, so close, almost contact being made into one. New leader, BRL Pirelli. Pirelli on the softs now, as predicted, will take off like a stabbed rat, and someone just went purple. Let's take a look here. So the lap time's continuing to fall. And look at the gap now, unbelievable, where Pirelli is now stretching his lead unbelievably. Something's not wrong with the Mercedes, but Pirelli just taking full advantage of those softs. But how long will they last? It'll be 8 laps remaining the next time he crosses the line gingerly through that stadium section. He's fast now, but will the softs go the distance? 8 laps remaining as he goes purple for the race. 1:14.80. Gorgeous lap time on the board, and the gap is now 3 seconds to the Kiwi Ryan. Ginger Horizon now 10.12 seconds adrift of third, all by himself, and this could be a dangerous moment for drivers who don't have competition to keep their concentration. You see a bit of a lockup into turn number 1, and these hard tires. Let's check the telemetry here and just see how far he's gone. 13 laps of wear, as has BRL Williams in the Racing Point in the 6th position. Speaking of BRL Williams on this hard tire, lost him there for a moment. We're now riding with Pirandi, who's leading through the stadium section. This is BRL Williams, who's on that hard tire as well, now going through the hairpin. And you can now see the gap to Ryan. This is the leader, BRL Pirandi, 5 seconds back to the lead. A little bit of a glitch trying to get to the Renault as RBM Mary picks up another penalty. This is Oz Formula on the soft tires, who now dials up the ERS, which is weird there. Really closing that gap headed into the stadium section. Let's see how Oz Formula makes that pass. You can already see getting the inside line out of the corner. He doesn't have the speed, but he will have the toe. There's Williams now on the left-hand side, and he's gone. Now in 6th place using DRS, it is Oz Formula, the second of 2 Renaults. The flap closes on the rear wing into 1, 2, and 3, and he will kiss BRL Williams goodbye. He now has an undisputed 6th position as he opens DRS again, and the gap grows. Rounding out the top 5, making a couple of mistakes today, but so far resurrecting himself from what was the depths of 11th place. B-Dunk now with 7 laps remaining back into the top 5, and he has made some sweet lemonade out of the lemons he afforded himself, spinning out of control during those opening rain-soaked laps. 3 seconds ahead from that papaya-colored McLaren with the lemonade, it's Hoopalicious. With now 6 laps remaining in Mexico, 3 seconds adrift of Ginger Horizon in the 3rd position in this Williams, but Ginger needs to get a move on because that gap is only 2.7 seconds to Hoopalicious. Hoopalicious on the soft tire, and Hoop wants that podium position. You can see the shadow of that Red Bull creeping up like a stalker in a horror film. GSRX with a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Yellow flag in Sector 3, and Axe now DNFing from this race. That's going to be it for Axe's Mexican Grand Prix, and round number 20 ends with a DNF for one of the 2 Alpha Tauris. 7 seconds behind the leader with 5 laps to go. It's New Zealand Ryan, and the Kiwi needs a miracle now to make his way up to the leader. Pirandi now downshifting furiously into turn number 1, a 7.3 second gap at the front in the final 4 and 1/2 laps. Deer Hunter bringing up the rear, 1.5 seconds adrift of FinFan. Let's ride along with the Racing Point. He puts on the overtake button and now chases the lone Alpha into stadium. Out of stadium, now out of the final corner. Will there be enough of a gap? But it doesn't matter. FinFan now coming down 4 tires. No DRS, but it makes no difference. Deer Hunter now into the 12th position. FinFan, will he be looking to put on softs for the fastest lap? And he will. Red Pirellis on the red Alpha, down and away in the final 4 laps, being overtaken by the leader Pirandi now with a 9-second gap to the Kiwi. 3 more seconds worth of penalties for RBM Mary. Down the long straight into 4 and 5. 1.1 seconds off their best, but it's quite irrelevant when the closest competition is 9 1/2 seconds away. Big lockup from the left front into 4 and 5 with a ghosted FinFan 1 lap down right behind him. Ginger Horizon 11 seconds back of the Kiwi, sitting in third. Hoopalicious 2.5 seconds adrift here, and I'm not sure what happened to Hoop, who appears to be ghosted, but we'll see what's going on with this Red Bull, who's quite literally a mere shadow of himself through the S's section, and we'll see how the penalties affect these drivers at the end. Take a look at the penalty detail here on the right-hand side of the board. Ginger Horizon with 12, count them, 12 seconds worth of penalties in these final 3 laps. Hoopalicious just needs to stay within within 8 seconds of that Williams just for safety here. 3 seconds of penalties, but he also needs to remain clean to make sure he can get his hands on that podium position. Meanwhile, B-Dunk, 15 seconds worth of penalties, and look all the way down here, 18 seconds for Mary and Newton, 20 seconds for FinFan, 9 seconds for the Kiwi, and 6 seconds for Pirandi. Really, it's his race to lose now. A 3-second penalty gap over second place, and only a mistake could stop him now. Ryan taking these medium tires the distance here, and it looks like the strategy bit him just a bit when he went for a second set of intermediates right before the rain came to a stop. Meanwhile, back in 4th and 5th, Hoopalicious in the Red Bull, still chasing down the Papaya McLaren of B-Dunk. This will be for 4th place. Hoopalicious had to have made a mistake because he was chasing Ginger Horizon for 3rd. But nevertheless, he soldiers on, and now on the front straight, he hits the overtake button, and he's got quite a gap to make up. 2.3 seconds adrift of 4th place. Seem to have lost the interval there. We apologize for the small technical difficulties. Huge lockup into the S's section. That's been Ryan's MO all race long, and at the front, Pirandi continues to dominate this race. FinFan still trying for his fastest lap on those red Pirellis. I love the way that Alpha just cuts through those corners. Great looking car there. Deer Hunter on the mediums. 2 more laps for them. Mean Fern down the long straight into the Lake S, chasing the Williams of ERS Ham Newton. Had a successful qualifying run today, looking to bring home a top 10 finish. And for the first time today, it looks like we're seeing traces of sunlight. Look at Mary. Goodness, what a save through the S's. Goodness me, the action never stops in Mexico City. Master Berserk, the second of 2 Mercedes, diligently doing his work. BRL Williams begins the second lap of the race. Through the top 5 as Hoopalicious still chases B-Dunk for 4th. Ginger Horizon will be looking to take home 3rd. If Ryan continues to lock up those tires mistake-free, he'll come home 2nd step on the podium. But with the sun shining on this lovely Renault, BRL Pirandi has done everything necessary today to bring home the bacon, with the red, white, and green confetti flying through the stadium section for the final time in round 20 of the Breakout Racing League. BRL Pirandi wins the Mexican Grand Prix. 17 seconds and counting to the Kiwi Ryan. Just an absolute dominant stint for the Renault pilot. That's going to be Pirandi's 5th victory this season, with 2 rounds remaining. It's an 82-point gap to the Kiwi Ryan, who has virtually locked up this championship, but you can see Pirandi still racing for pride, alive and well. That number 91 Goldenrod Renault standing top on the podium today. A drive well done. Beautiful, beautiful work. Look at this, Hoopalicious finishing 7th with those penalties there. Oz Formula ending up 3rd on the podium, given the clean race that they drove. So a couple of Renaults and a Merc gracing those top 3 steps today. Great day for Oz Formula. He winds up in the 3rd position. Pirandi winning, Ryan sitting 2nd. Oz Formula, who finds himself 8th in the points standings, actually getting his 2nd consecutive 3rd place finish. He scored the bronze medal at Kota last week, but there's your winner. BRL Pirandi in 1st, New Zealand Ryan 2nd, Oz Formula 3rd. The virtual champagne flows in Mexico City. Let's have a look at the full standings here for the race. Once again, Pirandi not only winning that race in dominant fashion, but taking home the fastest lap. Look at that, 1:14.80. Just blistering lap times on those softs. Ryan 2nd, Oz Formula 3rd. BRL Williams rounding out the top 5 in that racing point. ERS Ham Newton securing a top 10 finish. RBM Mary, despite a couple of spills, she finishes 12th. B-Dunk, my personal driver of the day, despite a couple of mistakes, coming home in the 6th position. All around a great day, but what more can you say about Pirandi really giving it everything and coming home in 1st place? So that's going to do it for us. I've been Rick James, here to bring you live coverage of the Breakout Racing League Formula 1 Mexican Grand Prix. That's going to do it for everyone here, for Skeppy, for Mean Fern, for everybody back at BRL. Thank you so much for joining us. Taylor Clan, Anterior Titan, everyone watching at home, it has been an absolute privilege. Thank you for joining us next Saturday, next week, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, round 21, the penultimate round of Breakout Racing League's Tier 1 from Autodromo Carlos Pache at Sao Paulo from Brazil. Until then, I've been Rick James. This is the Breakout Racing League. Stay safe, and we'll see you around the corner.